All right, guys, welcome back to the Let's Talk Ball pod. This is episode 21. We are recording on Monday, the 27th of January. I've got Spain with me as usual, but then we've also got a new guest. We got our resident Chelsea fan, Christian. He's going to be joining us to talk about Chelsea. But how are you guys doing? Chris, welcome to the pod.
Great. Thanks for having me. Glad to be here. Hope you guys are doing well. Got to watch my team suffer as usual. Get our hopes up. But excited to be here. So
nice. Welcome on. Yeah, I'm doing well. Finally calmed down after that egregious red card that was given to Arsenal on Saturday, and thankfully won, but still was pretty heated despite winning because that was terrible. But all is good now after the weekend. Doing well now.
Yeah, I'm definitely excited to get into that with you. I remember seeing that, and there's an Arsenal guy I follow on Twitter that was just absolutely losing his head. So I assume he was echoing the sentiments of most Arsenal fans in that moment.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. But before we hop into that, I did want to start with City versus Chelsea. That game ended 3-1 in favor of City by the end of it. It looked like Chelsea got off to a good start thanks to what's his name, Abdulkadir Kasanov, the new signing from Chelsea or from Man City. I mean, what a nightmare start for that kid.
Looking shaky in his boots there.
Yeah.
Not how you want to start out. Not how you want to start out at all. But looked like he settled himself in a little there after 20 minutes, but definitely not how you want to start your career. Very, very big game for your first Premier League game, so.
Yeah. Pep did him no favors throwing him in to start after being at the club for maybe 2-3 days. So poor guy in a big match. So I don't really blame him. You could tell he looked nervous right after that missed header that led to Chelsea's first goal. He gave it away to Palmer, had to take a yellow card, and then had another turnover, I think, not long after that. But he did calm himself down later towards the end of the first half, and then I thought it was good that Pep at least gave him 8 minutes or so into the second half, just so he was a first half sub, and just to kind of get him out there and let the fans cheer him off the field.
Yeah,
I think he did make a turning point move in the game, partially on my team's fault as well. But Jackson was through on goal, or Palmer was through on goal and played it across the box to Jackson, who missed a clear sitter. Just should have just shot it with his left foot, but he didn't. Passed it over to Sancho, and he made a big block on Sancho. So that was kind of a turning point in the game, because had they gone up 2-0, I think that would have been a whole different. But classic Chelsea, starting out hot as normal, and they just can't finish. Just the same story every week. Horrific goalkeeping, just all around. Defense is a little shaky, and no one up front. So we're just relying on Palmer to create, and everyone's reading it.
Yeah, I feel like Cole Palmer has been, just by his standards, a little bit quiet over the last couple of matches, and it seems like your form is kind of aligning with that.
Yeah.
Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I would agree with that. I'd like to see some different options played. I would like to see Neto starting personally out on the right side. I think that would have a different impact in games. I'm a little biased in my opinion towards Noni Madueke. Not a big fan of him. I think he's a little selfish and arrogant, and he doesn't really have any accountability, and he gets a lot of luck box goals, in all honesty. But the fan base loves him. He's a homegrown product. The team's going to rock with him. But I think Pedro Neto should start on the right side. Sancho's good on the left. Palmer in the middle. I like all of that. We just have too much faith in Jackson right now. He has signs here and there where where you think he's that guy, but he's unfortunately not that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Were you gonna say something, Spain?
I was gonna say, Jackson seems raw still. He has the pace to get in behind, but he's constantly running offside when he doesn't need to. He'll get in and not quite make the right decision or make his decision quick enough, and end up flubbing chances all the time, even though he gets tons of chances. So yeah, I mean, wouldn't give up on him because I think he's still got potential, but he needs to get that clinical finishing and just like take things earlier.
I think Palmer didn't play the best ball across the box to him,
No.
but there's no reason he shouldn't be hitting that with his left foot and finishing that first time. Like anyone with confidence there is doing that, and he's lacking the confidence. So
Yeah, I think that's a great point. Like I was gonna
that's what
say,
it
like
is.
that's like a very much a confidence play for him to not just hit that first time. Like that's just a telltale sign of someone that's like maybe overthinking what they need to be doing on the field at that moment.
Yeah, a striker in form even takes that first goal and instead of passing it, it'll just finish it. It was a great awareness by Jackson to lay it off to Madueke, who had the much better chance, so was the right move. But a striker who's in really good form probably does just finish that himself anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Like Rafinha did to end the Barcelona game, taking that for the winner instead of laying it off to Lewandowski was running it in.
Yeah. Did you notice anything else from the game? I guess specifically from this game, from either a Chelsea or a City fan that you get. Actually, I do want to talk about going back to the City side. I want to talk about Marmoush. I think he kind of had an opposite of what Kostanov had as a debut for City. He ended up not getting his goal. He had one called off due to VAR intervention, but I thought he looked City's one of, if not their most threatening player. Like I thought he looks like he's going to have a bright future for them. Looks like he can kind of be that Julian Alvarez replacement in terms of where they're going to get goals and a little bit more attacking threat from someone outside of Erling Haaland. I thought it was exciting to see the way that he was able to come in and almost immediately make an impact with having similar amount of training days as Kostanov. Granted, he's much older, but
yeah, he came in and, like you said, opposite to Kirstenov, Marmoush was full of confidence. He was taking tons of shots. Instead of playing in Foden, he took that shot, which I don't really blame him because Foden might have been off. It was going to be a close one. But a normal player in a City team, you would expect to make that pass to Foden, who probably would have finished that. But yeah, Marmoush looks really dynamic, fast, running in behind, takes lots of shots, looks like. So yeah, looks like he's going to be an exciting addition to City's front three or attacking.
I agree. He's got that creativity that they need. That Foden was lacking it at the beginning of the season. He's starting to get it back, but they needed an answer up front besides Haaland and Foden, and I think that's the perfect fill-in for them. I have my thoughts pre-game, but he looked pretty good. He looked pretty good during that game. He fired some great shots away. One went right over the bar that I thought for sure was going to go in, but he played great.
I think he's just the type of person that I feel like you can't forget. Like, even if he's not getting the ball, like he's causing the defense to have to react to him. Like I feel like that's something City's been lacking a little bit. Like they don't have anyone in their team that can stretch, like kind of run in behind, like beat a high line like that. Like Haaland can do that, but I feel like they rely on him to kind of drop and do hold up play and stuff like that at times. And Marmoush seems like he's going to be the answer to like making defense respect the threat in behind as well.
For sure. Healthy Reece James was playing, and he was up to the challenge with Reece James for sure. He was taking him on with no signs of, he had all the confidence there. He was taking him on head over heels. Chelsea's got to. Let me just touch on Chelsea briefly though, before I forget. I've been saying it since like the beginning of the season. I've been saying it since last year too. Chelsea's, yes, they need a striker. They need a goalie, man. And they have 8 on their payroll. Robert Sanchez, just not that guy. Enzo, I'll give him his flowers for like giving his goalie credit and backing him during the week, but that was a terrible performance, and he needs to reevaluate.
Yeah, I honestly I talked a good bit of junk on Sanchez when he was first coming in. Like, I thought he was a little bit overrated coming from Brighton. He seemed like he was doing okay for Chelsea for a little bit, but he just seems like to have a bonehead mistake in him just a little too often. For my liking.
We got Jorgensen. Don't know why we don't even give him the starts in the Premier League. I do get it from Sanchez being the leader per se. Good God, he's awful, man. We should just recall Petrovic from Strasbourg. I think he's way better.
Yeah, I don't know what he was doing on that goal, getting caught in no man's land. He was out there and just didn't know what he was doing. Terrible mistake. Yeah, like you said, he's got one of those in him every game, at least one, sometimes two.
I mean, based off how we play out the back from our keeper a lot, and you have to have a confident, smart keeper back there, and he makes just a lot of dumb mistakes and dumb passes. He'll pass it up the middle to Caicedo, and I see it every game. His it's just not there.
Yeah.
That's all I'll say.
I think that's a great shout. I think sticking with the Chelsea side, there was something that not specific to this game, but I did from a United fan. I want to ask, do you understand the desire for Chelsea to pursue Garnacho, and how do you feel about that? As far as, would you want him on your team? How much did you want to pay for him? Like, what's his role when he gets into the team? I'm trying to make sense of that.
I don't dislike it. I also don't adore it. I think bringing him in would be beneficial since Misha is going through his whole debacle right now. So we're kind of short on the left-hand side. That's why we start Neto on the left-hand side occasionally. And between Neto and Sancho, I mean, we don't really have anyone else there in that spot. Tyreek George, but he's still an academy player. He's still very young. He's not ready for that role yet. So Garnacho can bring in a little bit of Premier League experience there. I think the link-up play with Enzo playing on that left side pivot would work very well. But at the end of the day, we need a number 9 up front, and until we get a number 9, I can't warrant spending the money on him. I wouldn't spend more than 55 million on him, in my opinion. He's worth more than that, so I would lowball them. If they take it, cool. If they don't, maybe offer some sort of package deal. I've been throwing Chilwell at you all week, or I've been throwing Chilwell at Ogu all year long. Chilwell brought away on our bench. I think Chilwell and Mason Mount, the link up there could be nice. Maybe Chilwell and some cash. Throw his Garnacho.
Maybe throw in Sancho.
Yeah. Maybe we finish. I think the stipulation in that contract was that we have to buy him unless we finish below 15th, I think. So,
yeah, it's something crazy like that.
Unless something crazy happens, I think he's staying.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't disagree with your assessment, though. I guess looking at your squad a little bit more closely, I see how you could do with another winger, even though it seems that you have like an incredible amount of attackers already. But for me, from a United perspective, I think he's such a valuable player to us that I don't want to sell him unless we're getting something like 65 million plus, or else I think, especially the last couple of games, I was going to touch on this in the United section, but I'll just touch on it now. We've kind of been doing this thing where Garnacho, instead of playing in that inside forward position that Emram likes to play, he's been swapping with our left wing back in possession. So the left wing back's been coming more inside, and then Garnacho's been able to play more as like a true winger on the outside left, holding with. And he's been looking a lot more threatening. And I feel like if he can get more acquainted in that role, we can get even more out of him than we have been this season. And I'm willing to see that out for the rest of the season and then make a decision in the summer rather than rush to sell him now and regret it later. But I don't know. I think the financials have us in a tough spot to where we kind of have to at least entertain offers. So that's where I'm at with it.
I agree on my team's end, though. I did see a rumor today that apparently we haven't submitted a formal bid yet, but I saw from Fab that we did over the weekend. So I'm not really sure what to believe anymore. I'm hoping we don't follow through with it because it just seems like we're rushing the gun on it and just pulling the trigger and, cash, Chelsea cash. They'll just buy whatever they want. So hope they don't, because at the end of the day, we still need a striker.
Yeah, I gotcha. You guys have anything else from this City-Chelsea game you want to talk about before we move on to Arsenal?
We weren't in a title race.
Fair enough. Maresca kept saying it. He kept saying it.
I mean, I think City have been on a good form recently, and we play City next. So big match. So a good little segue there because talk about Arsenal next. Yeah, City have been in good form recently. It'll be interesting to see how their new signings bed in, if they'll sign anyone else. It doesn't sound like it, but although I heard that they might be looking into Douglas Luiz from Juventus because he hasn't been playing too much there. But yeah, City are just looking better. Foden's back in scoring. They've added some more attacking power with Marmoush, and they're just like things are starting to work for them finally. So I'm not like worried about them in like a title race by any means. I think they're too far back at this point. But yeah, they're looking good, and we're kind of playing them at a tough time.
Yeah.
After them being like a really bad form for forever.
Yeah, I can see that. I was also going to say, like, I do think they are in better form, but at the same time, I still think they need another signing, maybe to help really solidify their team, especially in the midfield. I think that's their biggest issue. They just
For sure.
don't have the legs in midfield anymore. Right now, they're starting Kovacic at like holding midfield with like Gundogan and aging Gundogan in there. Bernardo Silva is still a good player, but I think between those three, they're struggling to have the legs to keep up. Like they're really missing Rodri, and I think unless they sign a midfielder, like they'll get some wins here and there, obviously because they're still City. But I don't think they're gonna return to their heights until they can do that.
I think this next month's going to be a good determining factor of what's going to go on with them. They have the roughest schedule out of anyone. All of February, they're playing at Arsenal, then they're playing against Newcastle, who's on fire, then they're playing Liverpool, and then they're playing Spurs. And then they already got blown out by Spurs multiple times this year. And then they play Forest after that. So that's a rough schedule.
Yeah,
that's a good point.
If they make it through that unscathed or with maximum points or minimal point loss, I mean, I'm not going to say they're not in a title race anymore, but they're definitely in the top four easily.
yeah.
I'd be
That is a
shocked
brutal
if they.
schedule.
I'd be shocked if they get through that schedule without dropping too many points, just because they're playing some really good teams there, and I think a lot of those teams will overpower City's midfield, like us especially. I think we'll. I'm so confident in us this weekend playing City because of most of the midfield battle.
Yeah, yeah, and I think one storyline to watch with City as well is after that loss to PSG, they are in some real pressure to win that game. I mean, they should win the game against Club Brugge this week, coming up in 2 days. But if they don't, they're not even going to make the knockout stage of the Champions League, which is kind of crazy to think about.
Yeah, and definitely some money implications go along with that too. It might affect
Very
how.
true.
I guess they'll play that after the window closes or before, but maybe that'll change their
The
deadline.
Champions League match?
Yeah.
That'll be before the window closes. Window closes like February 3rd, I think.
Okay. So maybe that does change like what they do in the last couple of days on deadline day. Maybe try and go for someone like Douglas Luiz.
Yeah, makes sense. But I think we spent enough time on City. Let's move over to Arsenal. Talk about that Wolves match.
Yes, Arsenal won 1-0 against Wolves. They ended on 10 men for both sides. We had Saliba come back into the lineup, which was really nice. He came back probably a little faster than expected after some of what we heard when he was injured. But because of that, we were able to play Partey at center mid, which always helps stabilize our team, and then have a pretty normal back four recently with Miles Lewis-Skelly at left back, Gabriel Saliba, and Timber. So that was just nice getting like our full strength back line back together. And then we did start Ethan Onieri at center mid, which was interesting because I don't know if he started there. He's been playing like in Saka's position if he has been starting. But it was good to see him get a start at center mid in the midfield three, along with Rice and Partey. And then we had Martinelli, Havertz, and Trossard up top. But the real talking point was the red card. So we can just dive into that. I'm sure you guys both saw it, but I think it's the worst call I've seen all season, if not for maybe a couple seasons now. I don't know what Michael Oliver is doing, and I think the general sentiment is that it was a terrible call. Don't know why they didn't send him over, but y'all get some opinions from you two.
That was a terrible call. I'll just leave it at that. It was a terrible call. They should have gone and looked at it. Didn't. They should have held it up longer. They didn't. But I feel like that happens a lot with Arsenal. Sometimes you get them, sometimes you don't. I feel like Arsenal doesn't get them a lot of times, in all honesty.
Yeah. My initial reaction, like I went through a kind of a roller coaster of emotions with this one. My initial reaction was like, that's an insane red card. And then I started watching the slow motion replays, and I was like, okay, I get it, I guess. But then I don't know. The more I watched it, the more I was like, "There's just no way you can call that a red card." Just like in the way that it happened, like it's one of those things that like if you really want to analyze frame by frame, you could try to make a justification for it. But just the spirit of the game, like I don't think anyone that watches that first time sees that and goes, "Oh, that's a blatant red card." Um, and yeah, for him not to even like go over and check it, I think is also what was kind of egregious. Like I
Hmm.
think it's close enough that you at least go check it and give it a second look. Uh, but I guess I don't know. VAR's kind of been dropping the ball all season long, and unfortunately, it seems like Arsenal's got faced the brunt of that. Arsenal's had a few questionable red cards against them, like the Saliba one. I feel like I can understand that one. The Declan Rice red card against Brighton, where he kicked the ball away, I thought was pretty egregious. And then again, what was the other one? There was this one, and then I think there
Trossard
was one Trossard. Yeah,
against City,
Trossard against
kicking the
City.
ball
Yeah,
away.
yeah.
Like
So
less than a second after the whistle being blown.
hmm like just a lot of
And it was
unfortunate red cards
Michael
there.
Oliver that time.
Really?
Yep.
See, I didn't even clock that.
I
So that's
There's just refs that have
pretty sure.
vendettas. There's refs that have vendettas, man. Michael Oliver,
yeah,
y'all. Anthony Taylor hates Chelsea, so
yeah. There's Arsenal's played
it's just terrible.
17% of their season man down due to red cards, which is crazy. League average is 5%, which is
Yeah.
just an insane amount of man down time. And like you said, there's referees with agendas, and one thing that I've been seeing in an aftermath of this is people talking about potential corruption within the PGMOL and with like the referees and stuff like that. And people are really starting to question the legitimacy and like kind of the how what is it how non-transparent some of like the refereeing decisions are and whatnot, and like how that whole thing is governed. So that's something interesting to watch over the next. I mean, I don't think anything meaningful will happen. I think it'll be something where people talk about it for a couple of days and then people forget about it and just chalk it up to a mistake in the long run. But I think a lot of people are getting more and more disgruntled with refereeing decisions. So it's something interesting to watch as we move forward.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see if Howard Webb comes out and says anything because he is the head of the PGMOL. I don't think I've seen anything yet, but it'll be interesting to see. Yeah, to your point about Arsenal playing down 70% of the season, it's just so frustrating to have a season where we're a title contender, maybe not as high as we wanted to be, but to be affected by red cards so frequently this season. And so for that to happen again during that game, for something that was not deserving whatsoever, was incredibly frustrating for me as an Arsenal fan. And all my friends were all freaking out and in a really bad state just because it happened again to us. It was undeserving.
Yeah, I'm glad Wolves got that second or got a red card, so it went back down to even. That felt like a little bit of justice, and then you guys were able to eventually pull off the
Uh,
win.
yeah,
For
that was
sure.
inevitable. Them getting that red card, that Arsenal goal was inevitable, man.
Yeah,
That was coming. Great goal too. It was a great goal.
yeah,
Yeah, so Calafiori came on at halftime for Ranieri because we lost a left back. And then in the 70th minute, Yao Gomez, center mid from Wolves, steps on Timber, which I thought that was a worse tackle than
Yeah.
it was more dangerous. It's more dangerous. Yes, it was like I guess lower on his foot, but I thought it was a more dangerous tackle, a worse tackle in general than Miles Lewis Kelly's. And then, but then I thought we kept the pressure on Wolves even when we were down a man. I thought we even looked probably better than them a lot of times. We still created some chances. But then, yeah, in the 74th minute, we had a shot that got saved, I believe, and Calafiori hit it first time, which is what we need, just someone to kind of take a shot on like him. So it's nice that he was finally healthy, able to come in the game and get that winner for us.
yeah. I think I'm glad to see him scoring. He's a player that I really like, and I feel like that was still a really good signing for you guys. So I'm glad that it has paid dividends for you. Really good finish, like Christian said. And then, how did you feel about? I think Havertz had some good chances, at least from what I saw. I missed them, but like,
I was gonna
what
bring that
happened there?
up. I was gonna bring that up, being an ex-Chelsea fan, or sorry, being a current Chelsea fan and
Yeah.
ex-Chelsea player. Dude, he should have had like a hat trick in all honesty.
Yeah, there were two. Granted, they were headed chances, but I mean, he's good in the air historically. So he had two really easy headers where there was one kind of more further on the back post he had to get it for, but should have just like knocked it down near post into the goal. And then he had one who was kind of running onto it, and just completely miscued it. So he definitely should have had a brace. That was still early before the red card. That was around, those two were right in the first 30 minutes. So definitely don't love seeing that because he's been missing a lot of chances, been really off it lately.
Yeah. I think it's like such an interesting dynamic because I think something that some players don't get enough credit for is consistently putting themselves in opportunities, like or in places where they can score chances. Like I feel like there's some players that miss a lot of chances, but the fact that they're there in the first place goes a long way. But at the same time, for your striker, like you, and especially if you're trying to win a title, like you definitely need them to not only get in those positions but also convert them. So I know that's kind of disappointing, but I feel like that's also how Havertz is and always has been. Like it's great to see that he can get there, but isn't always finishing his chances. I don't know. Hopefully, do you think you're gonna be able to bring in an attacker? I feel like I haven't seen many links between players with Arsenal over the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, I've seen no rumors to give me optimism that we are going to sign someone, which is really disappointing because I think the title race is just about still alive. And I think if we sign a striker, there's enough reason for us to go for a striker right now and go after this title still. But I have not seen enough talk or any rumors to make me believe that we are going to sign one.
Yeah, that must be like, I don't know, Arsenal's assessment of the current market right now. That maybe there's just not market opportunities enough out there for you guys to risk it. Like maybe going against whatever your current transfer policy is. Like I know Arsenal, Liverpool, Man City even have pretty strict transfer policies as far as like not overextending themselves or overpaying and not being too reactive in the market. So maybe that's a case there. I guess one player to watch out for, I haven't specifically seen him linked to Arsenal, but Evan Ferguson from Brighton. I mean, he was being touted as like a 100 million plus striker like 2 years ago, and then he kind of had an off season where he's really injured and like his value's gone down a little bit. But he's not really playing at Brighton too much, but apparently they're willing to loan him. He's got interest from Premier League clubs. I don't know what Premier League clubs that would be interested, maybe a Chelsea, maybe an Arsenal, but he's probably a name to watch as this transfer window comes to an end.
Yeah, I didn't hear about that, but I would take him. The only thing is he's very injury prone, which is not what we need. So that's my biggest hesitation with him. But for a loan, if we got nothing else going for us, we might as well go for him on loan. But I would much rather see us get a striker who's not as injury prone.
Yeah, I got
like I would love for us to like. There were rumors like Cunha, even though he's not like an out and out 9. I think there's enough goals in him to come into the team and come on. Maybe if he's not starting every game, come on and get some big goals for us. So I would take him for sure. But I don't know how much he's valued at. I'd be happy with Wissa. I heard some people throwing around that name. More as like someone that would be a good signing. I don't know if there were any rumors to that at all, but I would definitely take Wissa. I haven't heard enough rumors, unfortunately.
Gotcha. Going to be interesting to see. As a neutral, I just want the title race to at least be close. Selfishly, I picked Arsenal at the beginning of the season, so I would love my prediction to come true. But even just from like a pure fan watching standpoint, I don't want to see Liverpool just run away with the title at this point. I want it to still be close. Like I want that Arsenal-Liverpool matchup at the end of the season to be a blockbuster, be something that actually has some meaning behind it.
Yeah, well, me too, obviously.
Yeah, fair enough. You got anything more on this Arsenal game? Oh, go ahead, Chris.
No one likes a runaway. I don't want to see Liverpool run away with it either. Unfortunately.
Yeah, I don't know. Something about him just annoys me so bad this year. Like Liverpool's been a team in the past couple of years that I've actually been like a fan of watching, but I don't know what happened this year. But I'm like, I can't stand them. I don't know if it's just not wanting to see Slot win in his first year in charge, or maybe Mo Salah burning me in FPL a few too many times this season. But something is just rubbing me the wrong way with this team.
I feel like Liverpool weren't even that good early in the season. They were just getting away with these wins, getting a lot of like late penalties and late kind of lucky goals. Darwin 2 weeks ago. I do think they've gotten a lot better throughout the season, and Mo's gotten a lot better, and they've deserved to be where they are. But early in the season, I really thought that they were getting away with it for a while.
Yeah, I agree. I remember us talking about that specifically.
Yeah, I think they picked up a lot of points early that they could have dropped, and that's been huge for them to have this gap that they are right now.
Mm-hmm.
I think Salah will be hot take. I think Salah will be on the hot seat in 2 or 3 years. I think this is the last season. I think Salah's going to be out and Van Dijk's both going to be out, and I think they're not going to have it anymore once Salah's gone.
Yeah, that's a great point. I wonder how they will look moving forward. Mo Salah, Virgil van Dijk, and Trent are all out of contract at the end of the season with no resolution that's gone or come to the forefront with any of those contracts. Each player keeps saying, I'm not really sure if I'm going to be here next season or not. I have a feeling Salah is just kind of working the media, but he'll re-sign just because I'm not really sure where else he would go at this point. Like, I'm not sure that where else would be a fit with him, like who has a solid size hole at right wing that can afford to bring him in. Trent seems like he's got one foot out the door. I think he's gone to Real, probably about like 75% sure on that one for me. Van Dijk is the one that I've got like really no read on that situation.
Yeah,
but if he losing any of those players is going to be a big impact to him. Looks like Connor Bradley's kind of slotting decently well in for Trent. Like, he's at least a good player. I don't think he's going to I know he's not going to replace everything that Trent does for that team, but I think Salah is the real kicker. Like, if they lose Salah, I don't know who they bring in to replace him. Obviously, Liverpool is a really well-run club, and they have their contingency plans in place. I'm sure they've got something up their sleeve. But as of right now, it just seems like a big job for Slot to replace those guys if they lose one or two or all three of them.
Yeah, you're losing a lot of goals and a lot of creativity this season through Salah if he doesn't re-sign.
Yeah.
And if you lose Van Dijk, you're going to start giving up a lot more goals.
Yeah. I don't know who becomes that backline leader if they lose Van Dijk.
No one in their team right now. Yeah, I guess Konate, but...
Yeah, if he's healthy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Something to watch moving forward. You have anything else on Arsenal before we move on to United, Spain?
No, I'm good.
All right. Let's talk about United versus Fulham. I'll keep this one quick because there's a few eventful things, but nothing too eventful. I think it was the lowest XG game like ever or something. I forget what the stat was or the XG philosophy tweet was.
XG tweeted it was the lowest scoring XG game from the last 2 seasons.
Last 2 seasons. There you go.
They also said United had 0.03 XG from open play during full 90 minutes.
Sheesh. That's not good for our attack. Definitely not a good stat you want to hear as a United fan. I think watching the game, it was entertaining enough. I think there wasn't a whole lot of action in both boxes, but it was kind of going back and forth a little bit. And I was looking out for some specific things in the tactics that I wanted to look at because we switched some things up on Thursday against Rangers that I thought were promising. Only brought half of those changes back to the game that I was a little disappointed about. But ultimately what happened in this game, it was 0-0 for the longest time. No one really creating clear-cut chances. And then Lisandro Martinez scores a deflected winner around like the 78th minute. And then a little bit later, Ahmad scores a goal that was actually pretty well worked by the United team. And he was just about like an inch or two offside. And that one gets called back. Fulham had a chance at the end from a set piece, and Toby Collier, the academy grad, clears it off the line. The ball was like halfway in the net, so that was a really big moment in the match as well. I would say the one thing I did want to touch on from this match is Lisandro Martinez seems to be getting at the end of goals pretty frequently this season, which I would love to see. He's been looking pretty exploitable defensively, but he's got a goal against Liverpool, which was a huge one for us. He got the winner here today. He got the game-winning assist when we played, the match-winning assist to Ahmad when he won the game against City. And then on Thursday, we were up 1-0 in the Europa League, and then they scored on us in the 88th. And then Bruno turned around and scored in the 90th minute off a really good assist from Lisandro Martinez. So I like that he's contributing to our offensive ability. And then also in this Fulham match, which I thought was more fun to watch, was Lisandro Martinez and Adama Traore do not like each other. at all. And it's kind of awesome to see. They've been beefing for a couple games now. And after the last Fulham United game, Adama posted on his story and tagged Lisandro Martinez and said something like, "Don't worry, I'll see you again," or "We'll meet again, Lisandro Martinez." Because I think Lisandro posted a picture of him knocking Adama on his butt in the last game. And then you could see, like, even when they were like going into duels with each other, Adama, and they were like specifically going to try and like knock each other over, like as much as they were trying to like actually score, which was fun to see. And then Adama, after the game, I thought this was kind of a weird move. He posted a picture of Lisandro Martinez on the ground hurt after a duel that they engaged in, but kind of a weird move when you lost the game and Lisandro Martinez, granted it was by a fortunate deflection, but scored the game-winning goal. But still, overall, I think not much to take from this United Fulham match besides it was fun to watch Lisandro and Adama kind of go at it. Did you guys get a chance to see any of the game?
Yo, it just dropped me from this call.
1 second. I lost you guys on Google Meet. We got to restart that.
Can y'all hear me?
Oops.
Dude,
Yep.
that dropped, and I was like, oh, God, I can't talk anymore.
Yeah, I knew that was going to happen. I just forgot to keep an eye on the time.
All right, I'm back in.
Nice. What was the last thing you heard me say?
Talk about Adama and Martinez going at it.
Yeah.
You mentioned that.
You were mentioning the post of adding him, and then I think you were about to get to Adama posting his pick, I think.
Yeah.
You were talking about
exactly.
it. You could tell they're just going at it and then kind of stop.
Yeah. Yeah, Adama and Lisandro Martinez have been going at it since our first Fulham match, and then wait, is Chris? I can hear myself
type
twice.
of echo.
There, I got it. It was my
nice.
It was my laptop.
Got you good. Yeah, so Lisandro and Adama were kind of going at it the whole match. Like as much as they were trying to score and pass to their teammates, they were trying to clatter each other in whatever legal way that they could. And I thought it was kind of a weird move from Adama. After the match, he posted a photo on Instagram. I forget what his caption was, but it was basically a photo of Lisandro Martinez on the ground, hurt after running into Adama, and Adama walking away looking on top. And I'm like, you did lose the game, and Lisandro Martinez, despite it being a deflection, did score the game-winning goal. I'm like, all right, I guess you can take the Instagram trophy for the day. But it was still entertaining nonetheless to see them going at it. I'm here for it, to be honest. Like, I don't even care that Adama posted. I like to see them kind of going back and forth, and like I like that little rivalry.
What'd you think about Lisandro's goal celebration there?
I didn't really understand exactly what it is. I don't know if he was going for like 1,000 stabs or something. Like, was what he was going for with that movement.
I think they need to add that into the next FIFA patch.
That would be honestly great. I would abuse that if I could.
I didn't see this. What was a celebration?
He just like started throwing his hands. It was weird.
I don't know. I think he just didn't really know what to do, and then all of a sudden, like him and Ahmad start looking like they're like Dyson or something. I don't really know what was going on.
It was the weirdest celebration I've seen in a while.
I'm gonna look that up.
Take it.
Yeah, it's a little embarrassing from Adama to post that, but I mean, yeah, like you said, I guess a little trophy for winning that battle, 1v1 maybe, but your team lost, so you can't really be talking too much smack when your team loses. But like you said, entertaining little like side story.
Yeah. Yeah, and then while you're looking up that Lisandro Martinez celebration, I think the only other notable thing to come out of the United match was Emeram's been catching a lot of attention for his press conferences, and then he had another headline grabber this week after the Fulham match. A reporter at the end of the press conference asked him about Marcus Rashford's absence because they were talking about the lack of attacking threat, and they're like, Marcus Rashford can help you. Are you willing to compromise on your stance there? Why is he still being left out of the team? And Amorim's direct quote was, "It's always the same reason. It's the training, it's the way I see how a footballer should do in life. It's every day, every detail." And he made a comment for the first time that was kind of like, it is about the training and also about how Rashford conducts himself off the field as well. I forget what the exact quote there was, but he's alluded to like how he lives his life, essentially. And then another quote that grabbed all the headlines was saying, you can see on the bench we're missing a little bit of pace that we could bring onto the field. And he said, but I would put in Vital, who is the 62-year-old goalkeeping coach, before a player who doesn't give the maximum effort every day. So pretty scathing words, I feel like, or at least headline grabbing. I watched the full interview, and he was just kind of talking about his philosophy in general. He didn't specifically say I would put the goalkeeper coach in over Rashford, which is like how some of the media outlets are reporting it. He didn't say those specific words, but still, I think it's interesting to hear him come out and say that. And I'm really interested to see how that Rashford saga is going to end, because I know he's been linked with Barcelona or maybe Dortmund. But if they don't find a loan move, I find it hard to believe that Rashford is not going to play for the rest of the season. They're not even going to make the match squad. I'm still fully convinced that he's being left out of the squad right now as they look for a potential suitor. But if they don't find a suitor, I think you'll find that Rashford will be integrated back into the squad sooner rather than later. But still going to be a bit awkward, to be honest, regardless of what happens. If he ends up staying and Rashford has to continue training and being a part of the United squad. Did you end up finding that celebration?
Yeah, it was weird. I don't know what he was doing. He was like,
Bro, I don't know what he was doing.
I don't know if he was dancing.
Yeah, I don't know. Of course, I had to go to the comments to see, and of course, the first comment is no other than Anthony, because he's the top comment on any soccer-related post. So, what is your thoughts of him leaving? Are you sad to lose Anthony to
yeah, definitely not
Spain?
Sad. Definitely not sad to see him go. I do feel for him a little bit. He got brought in. There's been more reporting done on his whole transfer saga, and it was said that United valued him at the absolute most at like 60 million, or like maybe even a little bit less than that. But I think the issue was we got desperate, and we were just a very poorly run club. Like, gotten a little bit better with Ineos coming in, but at the time it was still the Glazers and Ed Woodward in charge. And long story short, they made a terrible decision to bring him in for that amount of money. And anyone that's brought in for that amount of money is going to be put under an immense amount of pressure. And United brought him in for that amount of money, knowing he had very clear and obvious limitations as well as a player. So I kind of felt for him, because I think if you bring him in for like 25 mil, 30 mil, and he does what he's done, I don't think the scrutiny is as high. But because of the price tag, he's just been killed for he hasn't done himself any favor with like the spinning stuff and all that. But I think all that doesn't get blown up as much if he doesn't come in for the amount of money that United brought him in for. So for that part, I feel bad for him, and I'm kind of glad he gets to go to Spain and kind of get a place kind of outside of the limelight to refine his form, refine his confidence, because he was still a good player at Ajax. Obviously he had his limitations, but he was being recruited by Barcelona and other clubs for a reason. So I think there's a decent player in there as long as he can get his confidence back. I don't think he's going to find his place at a top Premier League or like Champions League club moving forward, but I think he can still play for like a team like, say, like a Galatasaray that's like a Champions League like homestead team. Like, I think he can go play for one of those teams and actually have a decent career. But good to see him leave, to be honest. I don't think he needed to be around United anymore.
Yeah, he's out on loan.
Yeah, out on loan to Real Betis, and they're covering 84% of his wages, which is a pretty good amount because he's not on a huge contract, but it's decently sized. So the fact that we're getting to get those wages off the book is probably going to help us fund a move here in January.
Nice. Yeah,
I'm pretty sure there was no buy option on the loan either. I'm pretty sure he like has to come back.
Yeah, it's a straight loan for now, and then we'll probably look for a more permanent option in the summer. Just try and get his value back up and see if we can ship him off later.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think you made a good point about his transfer fee putting extra pressure on him and making it look worse than he was. I know Nicolas Pepe, Arsenal, I think still all-time most expensive player, said the same thing. He got tons of pressure put on him just because of his price tag, and that went a long way into impacting how he was playing and his mental, and made it that much more difficult to be successful, and ultimately wasn't.
Mm-hmm. I think people forget Anthony scored in his first 3 Premier League matches, I'm pretty sure. He came on against Arsenal, scored against Arsenal, and then scored the next game against Everton, I think it was, and I forget what the third one was. But he was off to a hot start, and then it just kind of fell off a cliff there.
Mm-hmm. Could say torpedoed.
Let's see. I don't have much more on United, though. Pretty tame week. We got a chance on Thursday to lock in a top 8 spot in the Europa League if we can handle business against a club that I don't even know who they are. It's like FSFG or something like that on Thursday in the Europa League. So that'd be really, really big for us if we can finish in that top 8, avoid a playoff round match, and get some more time on the training ground, which Amorim has been begging for. But yeah, that's it for United. We can move on to some other Premier League news. Anything specific you guys want to touch on from some of the other Premier League teams?
There's a couple. Spurs, shocker.
Yeah, it was really a shocker, though, at this point.
I picked it. I picked it last week.
Vardy doubled down on his jokes.
Yeah, that was awesome. I didn't see that over the weekend. I only saw that this morning, but that was awesome to see. Did you see that, Spain?
No, what was it?
Yeah, Vardy, you got it.
So Vardy did who did he do that? He did it to Spurs last time?
He did it against Spurs earlier this season.
So this is the second time he's done it where he scores and then he points to the Premier League badge, goes 1, and he points to the stands and just goes 0.
I love that banter king.
Just letting the Spurs know that, hey, I was going to say something there. He's just letting the Spurs know, man, that they ain't shit.
Yeah, I mean, they really are shit right now. 15th place after terrible run, but then they play Leicester, who've lost 7 games in a row in the league, right? And then they go up 1-0, blow a lead, and end up losing 2-1 to Leicester. They're on a horrific run of form. We've talked about their injuries and whatnot, but it doesn't matter when it comes to playing Leicester, a team who lost 7 in a row, just got a newly promoted team this season. No excuses for that. Yeah, Spurs are terrible, and it's hilarious.
Yeah.
Awful.
Yeah, I don't even know what to even say about Spurs at this point. They at least got another center back. Looks like Ben Davies started center back this week instead of poor Archie Gray. He at least got to move out to left back this week. So maybe they're going to slowly but surely get more healthy. But Ange has to be under just an incredible amount of pressure at this point. I think for a while you could kind of make excuses, but losing to Leicester in that way is not good. I think the only chance that he's got to probably save his job going into next season is the cup competitions between, I think it's Carabao that they're in the semis against Liverpool, and then Europa League. They're still one of the better teams left in Europa League, and somehow managing not to, for lack of a better term, shit the bed there. So I don't know. I feel for him, but at the same time, he's going to start to have to do himself some favors because it's looking bleak.
Yeah, I don't feel bad for him.
Oh, let's see.
I mean, it just seems like I don't think Ange has taken enough responsibility either. I know the press conference, I think it was after this game, he's like, oh yeah, they scored, whatever, like they're going to get their goals. But yeah, I just don't think he's doing a good job of taking responsibility for putting the team in this position or not doing a better job despite all the injuries, which they have a ton of. But there's no excuse to lose to Leicester. So I just think he needs to take more responsibility. And he has been receiving a lot of criticism recently. But I think he needs to change something. And yeah, from what I've seen in his interviews, he isn't being taking responsibility, which is kind of interesting to see.
I don't even know how to fix that team.
Yeah, well, yeah, me neither.
I don't know. I mean, they definitely need some help in the defensive end, but I think they're trying to bring in a striker now as well. They're looking into some striker loans. They've been linked to a couple of strikers. A striker from Ajax, they got linked to Brian Broby. I think they're linked to potential Evan Ferguson move as well. They're one of the clubs linked with him. But I don't know. I guess their defense has never been super solid under Ange. It's just that they've been able to actually score goals no matter who they're playing against. And I feel like that's I don't even know if that's what's kind of dried up. Like they still scored 2 against Everton.
Their midfielders are just getting run through. I think that's one thing I've been noticing. Like the El Quinus goal, he picks up the ball and is able to drive, and no one steps to him. Like their midfield is just like nowhere. He pushes so many players up forward, and then he leaves, and then even the wingbacks push up so high. They just are so open on the counterattack. And they're not safe enough in the middle to stop these driving runs or these counters. So I think like the midfield needs to he needs to play more conservatively, put more people in the middle of the park, and not have so many people going bombing forward.
It's true. That's been a big criticism of his. I've seen in like the tactics nerd circle of Twitter. A lot of people talk about his rest defense, which is basically how you set up with the ball in the case that you lose the ball, to make sure that you're set up better defensively. And his rest defense is like most teams try and set up with at least like 5 to 6 players in position to kind of defend against counterattacks, and he goes out there with like 2 center backs as his ref defense, and that's about it. And this is kind of like praised. So I think he's gonna have to address that, but he keeps saying he doesn't want to address his play style. He wants to stick to his style of play, but like maybe just a little tweak there, just be a little more conservative, and you might be all right.
Yeah, and one of those players he leaves back is 18-year-old Archie Gray, who's not even a center back.
Yeah, exactly.
I think they need a new goalie as well.
Yeah, this guy's not looking good. Kinski.
Not looking good.
Really? I haven't really seen too much of him. I thought in his first game, people were praising him for being pretty good, for coming in and doing all right, but hasn't looked good since then.
No, super shaky, tons of mistakes. Yeah, it looks like he's...
Might have to throw them Robert Sanchez, man.
It looks like
Probably
he's too shaky with the ball at his feet, and then just like making big mistakes, catching the ball and like save wise. Yeah, he does not look like it's early, so maybe he just needs time to get his confidence. But right now, not looking good.
Yeah, I think also from like someone that can speak from experience from a Manchester United perspective, I think it's easy for a club to become a toxic place where people come in and they look confident, they look good, but just in a turbulent situation when there's like a lot of pressure, a lot of noise around, like you can quickly fall to the level of what everyone else is performing at sooner than like good players can come into a bad situation and look like awful players essentially. Let's see. Let's move on from Spurs and run through these real quick. We've been going for a while. Another huge result from the weekend is Bournemouth versus Forest. So was that one 5-0 by the end of it?
Cherries.
I expected that game to be a great one. I think it was fun to watch from a neutral perspective. I would have loved to see the Nottingham Forest train keep rolling, just to keep a little bit of pressure on the teams at the top. But still, crazy scoreline. It looks like Bournemouth are unstoppable at this moment. I think haven't lost in 10 matches. I saw a stat that what's his name, Dean Howson and Zabarny, the youngest center back pairing in the Premier League, since they both starting matches together, they have not lost a match. Wow. Seems like they're lighting the world on fire.
Yeah, Hoytson's been looking really good. I haven't pronounced his name.
Their team is looking good. That was surprising. 5 goals is a lot. That's surprising.
Tons of FPL picks, too, between Kirkes, Heitson, who's getting clean sheets, and he's bagging goals. He's huge. Kluivert's been on fire with 2 hat-tricks this season. Semenyo gets tons of minutes and has gone on hot streaks here and there. Ouattara has just scored a hat-trick. They love hat-tricks in this team. That's, I think, 3 hat-tricks for them in the Prem this season, which is pretty wild.
They do. You know what's crazy is I think they also, it could have been more. They had a goal ruled out for offside as well against Kluivert. That was pretty close.
Wow.
So it was just pure domination from Bournemouth, it felt like.
Chelsea
only had 1.69 XG, though.
Chelsea might have to buy back this Kepa guy. Anyone's better than Robert Sanchez, man.
I hope they, I don't know. I hope Bournemouth, because they play Liverpool next, right? I hope Bournemouth can pull off a good result against them. They're at home as well, not at Anfield, so hoping they can do something for us here.
Real quick, do we like, I think I'm going to make a quick fantasy move so I don't forget to lose money on Yao Pedro. But
yeah, do it.
Do we like Timber for Kirkez or Munoz better?
Oh, I would have to look at their fixtures, but probably Munoz for me.
That's what I was thinking, but I like Bournemouth's fixtures a lot, like a good bit better. Like they've got a really good run coming up, which is surprising because they've been on fire recently. But after Liverpool, they play Southampton away, Wolves home, Brighton away, Spurs away, Brentford home, Ipswich home, West Ham away, Fulham home, Crystal Palace away.
Yeah, they look like they've got a pretty easy schedule.
Mm-hmm.
Arsenal.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess it depends what you're going for. Are you going for the clean sheets or their attacking threat? Because I don't know. I feel like Kirkez's attacking threat is a little less nailed than Munoz. So are you banking on them to get the cleans?
Yeah, probably, because I think they've been really solid defensively. And I mostly just like their fixtures better. Munoz does get in the box a lot, but Kirkez still gets a good number of assists just by putting in a bunch of crosses.
Yeah. I think that's fair.
I'd go with the latter option.
Munoz or Kirkez?
Yeah, Nunez.
I don't know. I feel like you can't really go wrong with either. Are they the same price?
Munoz is 0.1 cheaper than Kirkez.
Oh.
But doesn't really matter. I'll have 0.4 versus 0.5 in the bank.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I would have to look at, I don't know Kirkez's numbers that well. I know he keeps somehow popping up with return. Not somehow. He keeps popping up with returns. I don't know. I feel like I tried to watch him for a couple games because I was interested in getting him. And I kind of was not as sold when I eye test watching him. But for some reason, it seems like he still kind of keeps getting the returns. So I don't know. Maybe ride the Bournemouth hot hand while you can. And worst case scenario, you can always move on from him.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Anyway, we can move off that now.
Let's see. Where were we at? We can touch on Everton real quick and then on some Potter news as well. Going to Everton, good to see Moyes come in and put together a solid performance. I think I wanted to hold off on getting any Everton assets in FPL and hold off my judgment on them until I got a little bit more data points. Looks like they've got it not figured out, but at least looking pretty good. They beat Brighton 1-0, or was it 1-0?
It was 1-0.
Yeah,
Yep.
They beat Brighton 1-0, and then against Spurs, Calvert-Lewin had a good goal, and it just seems like the whole team is kind of growing in confidence. So I'm hoping that they can keep that going because I was looking to bring in some Everton players maybe for this double game week, specifically Pickford.
Pickford saving that team.
Yeah. So I think it's good to see that they're keeping the clean sheets together even without Dyche at the helm, and then still able to pick up some results as well. What's his name? I can never pronounce his name. Njai on Everton. He looks like a threat always. He's getting in the box. He's causing issues for other teams. He scored a pen this week, and something that I thought was kind of whack was he scored the pen against Brighton and then did a seagull celebration, running in front of the Brighton fans. And they gave him a yellow card for that.
Really?
Yeah,
That's
man.
funny.
Game's gone, bro.
I'm going to have to look that up.
He ran up and down the sidelines, flopping his arms like a bird. And ref gave him a yellow card, which I'm like, come on, man. If Barty can go up to the Tottenham fans and shit talk him, let this guy flop his arms.
That's funny.
Yeah, Martinez can do whatever he did and not get carded for that. It's just been a terrible celebration.
Exactly. Yeah, good to see Moyes off to a good start at Everton, and I hope it continues. Then, Chris, you put this note in, and you want to talk about some Potter ball?
Oh, yeah. Potter ball returning to Chelsea this weekend. Dude, I'm not going to be shocked. Chelsea's dip of form is looking pretty atrocious right now. I wouldn't be shocked if they come away with a draw, like a 1-1 draw there. The team's just not clicking right now. Unless we show something promising early and keep scoring. That's the only way Chelsea scores, in all honesty. They'll score one goal, and it'll give them that confidence, and then they'll just start attacking from there. And that's how they run up all these games. Yeah, they're against a lot of them are against horrid teams, but they run up the scoreline like no other on other teams as soon as they start scoring. So if they can get something going early, might be a blowout. If they can't, I could see this being a draw.
Good shout. How was the Villa versus West Ham game? That's one I was not able to watch at all.
They drew. West Ham got a goal late, like at the end of the game. Not at the end of the game, but late in the game.
It's like Emerson in the 70th.
Yeah. So they got a draw, and Potter's got his team moving.
Was it kind of the typical Villa being boring, not really doing much?
Yeah, it was pretty boring. It was just back and forth the whole game. They were just running up and down. No one was holding possession, in all honesty, and they were running up.
Yeah. I missed a lot of the game. The bits and pieces that I saw were relatively boring. Looks like Villa went up really early thanks to Ramsey in like the 8th minute. And then Emerson, West Ham actually scored a really well-worked goal for their goal. And, I mean, looking at the underlying stats, I know this doesn't always tell the whole story because game state affects stuff and whatnot. West Ham had more XG. It was 1.31 to 0.85. They had 4 big chances created compared to Villa had 0 big chances created. So it looked like West Ham kind of edged them just a little bit in the underlying stats, but it looked like a relatively easy game or even game, which means that Villa still is kind of middling the ground. Like I think they're trying to find some form here. They're making a lot of moves in the transfer window. They brought in Malin. They just signed Disasi or are looking to sign Disasi from Chelsea. I don't think that one's official yet, but I think there's an agreement there. So I think they're trying to figure out a way.
I don't know why, but from what I saw, it looks like it's going to be a loan move with no buy option, which I am not a fan of. I wish they would just get rid of Disasi. And then I also saw Joao Felix was linked with Villa today as well. I'm a very big Felix fan, so I mean, I just got his jersey, so that's disappointing to see. But I could see a potential Disasi Felix for Duran move happening. I could see something being spoken about that. I don't like Duran's attitude per se, in all honesty. And his wages are going to be high. He's definitely going to be one making way more money than everyone else on our team. So that might not fit in, but the idea's there. Felix is just the backup for Palmer, in all honesty. Like, Felix can play out on the left too for us, but it's just not his position. And Felix is way too creative and he has just way too much potential to be a backup. So I get his frustration on wanting to leave. I don't think it's him wanting to leave. I think he just wants play time.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, he's too good of a player. And Maresca has come out and said, like, he almost feels for Nkunku and Felix because he thinks they're both top players. But with Cole Palmer being in the team, there's just not a space for them to get the playing time that they deserve, which, I mean, I think everyone kind of saw that coming with the way Chelsea was buying players, like, and asking the same questions. Like, you're always going to have this. I mean, all it is really just players ended up a little bit frustrated. Like, I think as long as your team is still producing and you're able to sell players for a profit and whatnot, then, like, it is what it is. But I'm not surprised to see that Felix is now looking for an exit just purely for the playing time.
Yeah, I don't get why the players are agreeing to it, though. I guess they believe in themselves enough to, I'll be the guy to earn my spot. But everyone can see how many players Chelsea are buying. I'm just surprised so many players are agreeing to go and sign these super long-term contracts, knowing they might not get playing time.
And Nkunku is an interesting one for me because he's not like a full-on striker, but he's not a 10 either. So he's like that. He's just like that center forward mix, and he doesn't really mesh into our team. So I get why he doesn't play, but he doesn't really fit either. But speaking on him, rumors of him apparently going to Manchester United have been surfacing as well. There's been rumors of that. So who knows? Maybe there might be a swap there with Garnacho.
Yeah.
So Arsenal should look into Nkunku and maybe try to get him on loan or something.
Wow, that's a good shout.
I didn't think about that until just now, but I mean, he's got goals in him.
I think that's a lot of our players don't per se want to leave. I think that a lot of them do want to stay at Chelsea. They just know they can't play and they don't get the playing time, so like they just want to be loaned out to other teams.
Yeah, I think that's a good shout, Spain, on the potential loan to Arsenal. I think that would be a great opportunity to pursue, but they might have a little bad taste in their mouth after the Sterling loan. The way that's going.
That's been terrible.
I can't believe he's coming back to my team in the summer. Oh my god.
Yeah, I was
Poor guy.
hopeful or excited and hopeful when we announced that loan, but it has been absolutely terrible. Way worse than I thought it could have been.
I saw that coming. He's been atrocious.
Yeah, I don't know. I was really hoping there would be like a environment thing, like get around a different environment, maybe find your feet again. But to be fair, he also, I don't know, he didn't get as many chances as he probably would have liked early on in the season. But now that he has gotten his chances, he's still finding it hard to find for him. So it's hard to like still defend him. But long story short, it has not worked out for him there.
Yeah, you want a winger that'll beat someone, and he just looks like he doesn't even not even gonna try to beat anyone because his confidence is so low.
Yeah, exactly.
It doesn't leave a whole lot of options for him to go anywhere either because he refuses to move on his wages. The dude makes like $300,000 a week. No one's gonna want to pay that.
Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah, maybe he'll move to like one of those one of those clubs that can afford to pay him some money, like a Galatasaray or something like that.
Yeah, I think it's going to be the end of Sterling's career after this season of him being like on a like really competitive, like actually competitive, good top club.
I agree with
Oh,
that.
okay. Let's move on to our lightning rounds. We'll get Chris on it this week, and then we can touch on FPL and then round out this pod. So the game week. This is game week 17, or no? We did game week 23 last week, right?
Yes.
And so Spain, you went 4 for 10 with the picks.
Mm-hmm.
I had a great week, went 7 for 10 with the picks, and that pulls Spain up to 11 out of 20 total, and I'm at 14 out of 20. Let's see. Are you guys ready to do this? I'm like, Chris, you can go first, actually.
All right, I just pulled him up.
Wait, I'll read them off to you, and then just give me your reaction. So we do win, loss, draw, or like pick who you think is going to win, or pick the draw. And so first game on February 1st, 7:30 a.m. Eastern Time is going to be Nottingham Forest hosting Brighton.
I think Forest bounces back.
Okay.
Brighton's been playing pretty just shit ball.
Yeah, they've been struggling. Not against us though. Bournemouth hosting Liverpool. Big matchup of the weekend.
Oh yeah, that's a big game. I think Liverpool's going to win this, unfortunately, but I'd love to see a draw. But I think
Okay. Everton hosting Leicester City, a battle at the bottom of the table.
I think this is going to be a draw.
Okay.
I think it's going to be a 0-0 draw.
Wow. Boring. A snooze fest, huh?
Oh yeah. Pickford's
All right. Oh, go ahead.
good in that. Pickford's good in that.
All right. And then we got a true relegation battle, Ipswich versus Southampton.
Ipswich.
Nice. Then we got Newcastle hosting Fulham.
Newcastle.
All right. Wolves hosting Aston Villa.
I like the Wolves here.
Wow. That's a big call. Okay.
Wolves.
Got Brentford hosting Spurs.
Brentford.
No hesitation.
Spurs. We got Manchester United.
Good at home. Brentford's very good at home. And Spurs are shambolic right now.
Yeah, I feel like you got to fade Spurs until they show you something different. Especially if they're losing to Leicester. Next, we got Manchester United hosting Crystal Palace.
I want to take Palace here, but I don't think they will at Man United, so I'll take a draw here.
Okay. Another big matchup of the weekend, Arsenal hosting Manchester City.
I'm going to take City here.
Wow.
I think their team's a little hot right now, and I think this game against Chelsea is going to give them some confidence going forward.
Okay. And then speaking of Chelsea, they're the last game on Monday hosting West Ham at home.
I think Chelsea's going to win. I think it could end as a draw if we don't get off to a good start, but I think Chelsea's going to win.
All right. You heard all those picks there.
Are we gonna do the extra Liverpool versus the rescheduled Liverpool versus Everton? Include that one.
Oh,
this week.
You're right.
Oh,
It didn't pop up for me.
There's
It didn't pop up for me. Yeah.
Liverpool's got 2 FPL games this week. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
And both
And
Everton and Liverpool got 2, which is nice.
Is it Everton hosting Liverpool or are they away?
Everton's hosting Liverpool.
Okay, yeah. Everton hosting Liverpool. What do you got, Chris?
Liverpool.
All right. Easy enough. Spain, you want to go next?
Sure.
Me too.
I'll go next.
Starting again from the top. Forest hosting Brighton.
Forest.
All right, Bournemouth hosting Liverpool.
We're with Bournemouth here. At
Nice.
home.
Nice.
I'm hoping that they can take points off Liverpool, and I'm feeling that Liverpool got to trip up somewhere. So I think this is Bournemouth to do it this weekend.
All right, Everton hosting Leicester City.
Everton.
Okay. Relegation battle, Ipswich Town hosting Southampton.
I'm going to go with the draw.
Okay. Newcastle hosting Fulham.
This is a tough one. I'm going to go with Newcastle. I was really thinking hard on draw there, but it's not good Newcastle.
Yeah. Okay, and then we got Wolves hosting Aston Villa.
I'm going to go with Wolves. I like Christian's shout. I'm going to hop on the Wolves train with them.
Nice.
Wolves.
All right. Let's go over to the Sunday games. We have Brentford hosting the Spurs.
Yeah, Brentford.
Nice. United hosting Crystal Palace.
I'm going to go with United at home. I haven't been big on United for many of my picks this season. But yeah, I'm just going to go with United. I think I don't know why, just they're at home. And I don't think Palace have been quite that great recently.
Okay. Your boys, Arsenal hosting Manchester City.
We're taking it. Arsenal at home.
Sure. And then
Confidence.
we got Chelsea hosting West Ham.
Chelsea at home.
Okay. And then the rescheduled Everton hosting Liverpool.
Go with Liverpool.
Fair enough. All right.
All right. I'll read them out to you. You ready? Forest hosting Brighton.
Forest bounce back.
Bournemouth hosting Liverpool.
I'm also going to go with Bournemouth. I think they're hot and they can beat them.
Everton hosting Leicester.
I'm actually going to go with Everton.
Ipswich hosting Southampton.
I'm going to do something crazy here. I'm going to go Southampton.
Wow, nice.
All right.
Do I actually think that'll happen? No, but I'm definitely going to put that in a parlay, I think.
Newcastle hosting Fulham.
I'm going to go with draw.
Wolves hosting Aston Villa.
I'm going to make it a trio. I'm going to go Wolves over Villa.
Oh, nice. Brentford hosting Spurs.
You know they can score the goals.
I know.
If they show up.
Yeah, but so can Brentford can score the goals too. More goals.
Yeah. I'm going to go with the draw. I think Spurs show a little bit of fight. I'm going to give them the draw.
Okay. United hosting Crystal Palace.
Give me United.
Arsenal hosting City.
This is a really tough one for me. I think I'm going to go Arsenal just because they're at home.
Yeah. Chelsea hosting West Ham.
Chelsea. I think they get it done.
And the bonus rescheduled game, Everton hosting Liverpool.
I'm going to go draw.
Draw.
Yeah.
Nice.
I
So
almost said
Liverpool.
Everton.
Yeah, Liverpool dropping a lot of points for you this week, which is great.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't know. Everton always plays Liverpool. Maybe I might be making that up, but I feel like Everton plays Liverpool pretty closely from what I've seen. It's a derby game. Anything can happen. So
Pickford's that guy, man.
yeah, I hope so. I'm hoping for a Moyes masterclass. I need that.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see. I think the Newcastle Fulham game was a hard one for me to call. I think that'll be interesting. Then, yeah, I mean, Arsenal City is going to be a huge game on Sunday.
It's going to be a huge game.
I'm feeling confident that our midfield, kind of what we were talking about earlier in the pod, our midfield will overpower Cities and we'll control the game that way and limit City's. And then I'll trust Gabriel and Saliba to handle Haaland.
Yeah, that's one that I'm interested in because I think one of the issues that I felt like their midfield has is they're like defending against transitional moments. I feel like you guys don't really like push in transition too hard.
Yeah.
So that's something to consider. But I still think you're a better team overall than City right now. Less weaknesses, and then plus being at home, I think, is what gave them the edge for me.
Mm-hmm.
I think De Bruyne
definitely
start here. I think De Bruyne has to start this game.
Yeah.
He has to.
It'll be interesting to see how they try and what they're trying to do. I don't know, because De Bruyne definitely doesn't have the legs to play 90 minutes, but maybe he comes in, I don't know, plays over Gundogan, because I think you still need Marmoush to play in this game as your new signing. Mm-hmm. And I also think De Bruyne is gone this summer. I think he moves to Saudi Arabia or somewhere in the summer. I don't think he's got another another season at City. So I could see them trying to prioritize some newer players over De Bruyne, who's leaving as well.
I just got an alert like 15 minutes ago on my phone. Apparently, Barcelona is interested in Doku.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. I guess, yeah, if they were interested at all in Rashford, it means they're probably in the market for some type of like winger slash forward position.
Yeah, it would be interesting to
Um,
see if De Bruyne does start, or if he gets to play with Marmoush, him playing balls into Marmoush, because that's one thing I would be a little scared of. Just Marmoush's runs and then De Bruyne playing some really nice balls because he's so good at through
that's
balls.
true. That's a great shout.
What's Marmoush's position technically, like in their lineup? Is he playing on the left side or like
He's
in the middle?
basically,
Is he just like a floating in the middle? Like,
yeah, I think he just kind of is playing as like a second striker, like just another forward. I think on paper, like FotMob or like soccer websites had him at lining up at like left wing, but he definitely wasn't playing left wing. Like they have Gvardiol pushing up on that left hand side, and then Marmoush is just kind of playing like off Holland as basically like a second striker,
curious.
which is basically what he has played.
They've just got a lot of wingers now, I feel like. They've got Grealish, Doku, Marmoush, if you're considering him a winger, but Foden.
Yeah, I feel like Marmoush is basically going to be used the same way that they used Alvarez. Kind of like he might line up as like a 10 technically, but just basically another attacker that still stays mostly central, but can't drift out wide.
It looks like a loan proposal for Doku.
I can see that.
Interesting.
Yeah, but I'm glad we got to run through those games. Let's talk FPL real quick. If you have anything, I guess specifically Spain with you having your moves planned. I know you said you're trying to go get João Pedro off your payroll here and bring in. Who is it that you're trying to free up money for? Wissa?
Wissa, yeah. I finally got rid of Nico Jackson after this past week, after holding on to him for forever. He got an assist, so I wasn't too bummed about that. I was about to be really upset because I was watching the game live, so I saw that Jackson got the assist, and then when I saw Palmer play that ball across to Jackson, I thought he was going to score. But Jackson did his Jackson things, and I remembered why I took him out of my team because he ended up not scoring the great chance. So I was a little bit relieved there. But yeah, that was our only move I had. I'd saved it to 5 transfers, so I hadn't made any moves in a while. And oh man, our call is ending. Okay, 15 minutes. Nice.
Okay.
But yeah, took out Jackson, so I've still got 5 moves this week. My plan is to take out João Pedro, and I don't really want to take out Urian Timber, because I do think we still have the best defense in the league and have some good fixtures coming up. But yeah, I really want to get to Wissa. Although I could just go for a lighter weight striker and start starting Semenyo more often, because he's been killing me on my bench because I've been benching him a lot and he's been scoring. Yeah, I'm on 4 red arrows in a row, which doesn't feel great. So trying to shake up the team and get some greens. Because I dropped down to 7th in the mini league and 600k overall from being like second or third in the mini league and at 300k. So yeah, not looking great recently.
Nice. I was on 69 points this week, which was a pretty good week for me. Yeah, intentional. But I was disappointed because I benched Semenyo as well over Ahmad, which, I mean, it is what it is. Hindsight 2020. But in general, I feel good about how my team's been going. I've been trying to be a little bit more patient with my team, and I think that's kind of paid off because for a while I was making moves every week, and every week my moves were, my moves were blowing up in my face, and I was getting red arrows. So I'm off the back. I went 4 red arrows in a row to now having 3 green arrows in a row. And I have gone from about, 2 million, not that far up. I've gone from 2.3 million overall to 1.6. But I'm hoping to keep trending that direction and make some good moves here. I think I'm trying to figure out what I want to do with this assistant manager chip that's coming with these managers and figure out how I can leverage that, maybe get a lot of extra points there. See if I can use that wisely. I'm thinking about the Mo Salah triple captain this week in the double as well. But with me wanting them to lose, I don't know if that's going to be a good combination for me. But we'll see. I've got, how many transfers do I have going in? I got 2 free transfers going into this next week, and I think I want to attack the double by bringing in 1 more Liverpool asset if I can. but I don't love any Liverpool assets besides maybe Allison in goal or Pickford, or not. He's not a Liverpool asset, but maybe going for Pickford to attack the double. And then I wanted to bring Gakpo in, but I just don't like. I might have been able to figure out how to get some money up for him, but I think with his recent rises and the drops of some of my players, I don't think I can do that anymore. And I also wanted to do that last week when they were playing Ipswich at home. So now I'm kind of in like this no man's land area where I'm like, maybe I just say screw the double, hope neither team pops off that much, and just try and set myself up better for the next few weeks after that. But I don't know. Spain, you got me thinking about what I need to do with my team with João Pedro about to drop. Raya already dropped from 5.6 to 5.5 over the last couple of days. So definitely have some moves to make after this, but haven't really thought those through. But hoping to just keep the green arrows rolling.
Yeah, that's fair. I like that you brought in Semenyo and Mbeumo this week for Enzo and Bruno. Looks like that was good to get Enzo out of your team. But do you think you're going to get rid of João Pedro, or do you think you can keep holding him?
I've been trying or wanting to get rid of him for a long time now. And I just don't really believe in the way Brighton are playing right now. And I think I could just get better value, like even moving to someone like, I don't know, try and free up money and move into like a Wissa instead. I think I would feel better about. But I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, because you could just like start starting Semenyo over him.
You're right. And just bench him instead.
Yeah, but then you'd be sort of like a mod and Semenyo every week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. I think what killed me was the reason I went Semenyo over Kluivert as my Bournemouth asset. Kluivert's on penalties, so he's got that advantage on top of like already playing a little bit more of a stable position. Seems like they'll move Semenyo kind of all over the field. But Evan Nilsson went down with a long-term injury. He might be out for the season or close to it. And in one of their last Premier League match before this one, they started Semenyo at striker. But then in this match, they started Ouattara at striker, and he got a hat trick. And so I'm like, they're probably going to keep going with what's his name instead of Semenyo. And then Semenyo looks not as enticing. So I think I feel a little bit disappointed about that. Like, he did get his return at the end. He got his goal. And I don't know. I guess what I'm trying to balance out is, do I go for Kluivert, who's probably a more consistent threat? Or do I stick with Semenyo, who still seems to be able to get his points here and there? And then Semenyo's also the type of player that he's like a bonus points magnet. So all he needs is like one goal, and that one goal accounts for like 8 or 9 points compared to some of the other players.
Yeah, I don't think you move him since you already brought him in, Semenyo.
Yeah.
I think that'd be a waste of a transfer.
Yeah, exactly. But
make your bed with the move.
Yeah, I'm still just looking at my team, and I'm not really sure what direction to go. I think I'm going to need to do some research after this, after we get done recording here. Mm-hmm. Go watch some FPL Raptor, FPL Harry or something.
Yeah. My team is in shambles. After
your team was
the wild card mishap. I was trending up after the wild card mishap, and then I added 3 Forest players, and they got blown out last week.
Oh yeah, that's brutal.
all 3 defenders too.
Yeah, the only positive there was that I captained Isak.
Nice.
That's funny.
But I am doing the triple captain Salah this week. I think he's gonna ball.
Nice. I mean, you could. At least you still have your wild card, so if things don't go well, you can blow it up again.
Gotta do it right.
Yeah. That's funny.
Yeah, tough moves this week, Christian, with Guardiola and Foden, because they both returned. Of course, Guardiola gets a goal.
Yeah. I was looking, of course. And I started Wissa over Jackson this week.
Are you going to bring... Oh. Yeah, wait.
Last week.
Never mind. You brought Palmer back in. I see.
We lost you on Riverside, Tochi.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know why that happened, because it shows that I'm still here.
Oh, weird.
It doesn't show you're here for me.
Really?
Yeah, it's just me and Christian.
Let me try leaving and coming back, I guess.
Yep, up to you. Whatever you think will work.
Yeah, me too.
Nice.
Okay, nice. I mean, I didn't have much left anyway. We can wrap it up unless you guys have any more FPL things that you want to talk about.
No. Are you on mute maybe? I don't see like the purple thing light me up when you're talking.
No, I'm not, but
I did think it was interesting. Triple captain. I still have mine. You still have yours, Tochi.
mm-hmm.
So Christian, you sound like you're big on playing it this week. I'm big on not playing it this week. I don't like Salah's matchups, so I'm pretty set on swerving that pretty hard. Like not really considering playing triple captain much at all, and either hoping to find Liverpool in a better game. I'd prefer to play them against like Southampton later, whenever they play them, or maybe use it on Isaac later in a favorable matchup.
That makes sense. This is my first year like full on playing FPL though, so I'm still getting the ropes of it down.
What are Liverpool's matchups?
Bournemouth and Everton.
Oh,
yeah. See,
I think they're away both games.
See, and like we want Bournemouth to win, but like, I mean, would you be shocked if Salah scored a hat trick?
I mean, never.
Yeah, that's the hard part. And like, I'm just wondering, like, is there other? I mean, I guess you could attack a single game week Salah performance, because I feel like the only person people are trying to use a triple captain on right now is probably Mo Salah. Most people don't have Haaland in their teams, and no one else is like explosive enough to really risk the triple captain on. I guess Cole Palmer, if you have like a good double game week set up, but like I wouldn't waste it on like a single week game week.
Use Isaac too in a really favorable matchup.
Yeah, Isaac as well. He does seem like he's getting returns for fun.
So
I don't know. I don't know. I have to do more research.
Yeah, it's hard for me. I just don't like Salah's matchups this week, which is why I'm having 2 away games is tough. I think Bournemouth are in great form, and Everton are strong defense, and so it's hard to say. But he does have 2 games, so that's the upside.
If I play my triple captain, it doesn't go into effect until the week starts, right?
Yeah, I have it at the deadline.
Okay, yeah, never mind.
Yeah, I would just wait till like before the deadline if you can, but I don't know. That's a tough one because I just don't think there's many, at least not any like scheduled doubles so far that are looking good necessarily. But at the same time, you do want to like ball out when you can.
Yeah, it's got a lot of chips left too.
I think if they weren't playing Everton, it might be worth it, but Pickford's just...
Yeah. But if he gets a return in both, if he gets one in both, that's still like... Salah's the type of player similar to Semenyo. Like, all he needs is one return, like one goal, and he gets his bonus points as well.
Yeah.
And that's like a 9-pointer. So he gets a 9-pointer in each 18 triple captain. Like, that's huge.
It's really good.
Yeah.
That's as good as getting a triple return in a single week.
Yeah.
I'll have to do some thinking on this.
Yeah.
Yeah, that actually has me thinking a little bit now. Yeah, now that you just mentioned that.
Yeah, so we'll see. I don't know.
Just because I know there's doubles later in the season that I want to use other chips on, and the manager takes up 3 weeks, and I've been very close to playing my bench boost a good number of weeks, just because I think I've got a strong bench right now. It sucks that Fabianski's not playing, otherwise I need to move him out, but had 2 chances where I would have got like 17, between like 15 and 18, 19 points playing my bench boost, which would have been kind of nice. We'll see when I do play it, but I'm interested to see in hindsight whether it was good to leave it later in the season for maybe a double game week bench boost, or play it when I just had optimal fixtures and solid plays on my bench.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to balance out. Is like I feel like I'm holding on to all my chips, and I don't really like know when to use them either. So I'm like, I don't want to just hold on to them and then get to a situation where I'm just like not using them optimally, but just because I have to use them in the last few weeks of the season.
Mm-hmm.
I think the only thing I've used so far is my free hit, but I did that pretty well. I got like 90 or 100 points the week I used my free hit.
Nice.
Yeah, I remember you talking about that.
Yeah, I got you. Well used.
I think it was the week I captained Saka, and he got like 40 points.
Nice.
Hey, Logan used his triple captain this past week on Haaland.
He did. I remember him telling me he was going to do that. I mean, decent return.
Yeah, 12 points. Take that.
Exactly. Like, could have gone much, much worse, so good for him.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody else flying in our league recently? The Bailey set and forget meta is kind of... he's not near the top of the league as much anymore.
Yeah, thank God. Connor Anderson's still just consistent,
flying,
good.
Yeah. Riley's up there because he's got Gakpo, and I feel forget who else he had on his team, but he's got a team that's just kind of been slowly but surely just churning along.
Yeah, Gakpo is a big thing for him. Then Raya, who not that many players have, got 9 points, is big. Pedro Porro got him 6.
That was the one I saw. Yeah, Pedro Porro got a return. It was huge for him.
Yeah, he's having a good season.
Yeah, that's all I had. FPL wise, we can wrap it up. Can you guys see me talking on Riverside, or do you need to wrap it up?
What? I'm gonna wrap it up.
Is it showing me like talking on Riverside?
Oh,
because I can.
You're not glowing up.
Yeah, it's not glowing.
Okay. Yeah. Then Spain, you can wrap it up for us, just in case people can't hear me.
Yep. Well, that is all from the podcast today. Let's Talk Ball, episode 21, covering the latest games. Thanks for joining us, Christian, being our first guest on one of our podcasts. Yeah, of course. Big games this weekend. Hoping Arsenal get a big win against City. And that's all from us.